Go ahead, Jada. Um, I just want to welcome everybody to our Healthy Hangout tonight. We have a great program. This is a topic that I truly love, and I love sharing it with my clients that Jada is going to share. And she's got an awesome testimonial. And so I'm going to just let her take it away. And welcome, everybody.
Yes, I am really excited tonight. I have, for the person that I'm introducing is actually not a client. He's actually one of the inspirations for Steve and me doing Optavia to begin with. And he started talking to Steve about Optavia several months before we finally got together with Krista, and she told us about the program and signed us on. But Jimmy has just a wonderful story, and I want to give him time to share as much of that as possible. So Jimmy, I'm going to turn it over and let you tell your story.
There we go. So, okay, I told Krista, here's what I want to do, and I think Jada and Steve know me best, and Heidi Bill. Don't do as I do as I say do. That's kind of how I've been. But so my journey with Optavia and Heidi Bell started back in August of 2018, but really, back up to 2010. My oldest son was a senior in high school, and I was a music director at a church, and lots of stressful times and situations. Well, I developed kidney stones, and I was literally sedentary for about 2.5 weeks. And during that time, I developed blood clots, and this back in 2010. And so, of course, I was 49 years old, and I had not weighed in a while. I knew I was heavy. I knew I was not healthy. And they weighed me on a shipping weight scale. And I weighed 390 pounds. And I was like, dear God, I am almost 400 pounds. And, it really concerned me. So past the kidney stones, then, of course, everything is falling apart: high blood pressure, diabetes, warfarin for the blood clots, taking heartburn medication. And so for 8 years, I yo-yo dieted and got down to about 350. And then in August of 2018, Krista was working for a doctor, and another doctor had come in that had lost weight. Heidi Bell had done her job of explaining to her client, who had lost a lot of weight. I don't think he had decided to coach, but he did his job of, hey, here's my coach's name, and get in touch with her. Well, Krista reached out to her, and Heidi Bell sent me some information. And for the first time ever, because I tried all kinds of diets, and for the first time, I thought this really makes sense. And so I weighed 350 then, and I set a goal for 250. That was 3 years ago. When I came back from convention, my first convention, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I got COVID for one thing, and we're past that. But I lost, I got down to 252.1, and my original goal was 250, and I'd started at 350. So, I've been on this journey, and it's for the rest of my life. And so I'm having to regroup on a goal that I set. I really want to get down to 200 now that I've reached the 250. And so I'd set a goal for Thanksgiving of 200. I'm working on that, and I think if I get close, I'm going to be happy. But thanks for letting me share, and you guys are awesome. I really believe in what Optavia stands for, and love people. That's the thing. That being in sales for 33 years now, I was a closer, and again, my thing is I feel like I need to sell someone on the idea of doing what we do, because I know we have the answer. We have the best vehicle for people to accomplish what they want, not only with their, with their weight and so forth, but their mind and their finances and so forth. So, but I'm thank you for letting me share. Probably went way over, but go, sorry.
You are fine. Now, Jimmy, the thing that I have noticed and had impressed me was that he kept contending and kept working. And we've all kind of hit places where we've gotten kind of, I guess, just sort of comfortable or stuck in a spot. What I've seen with Jimmy is that he's gotten to a spot, and then it's like, okay, now I've got to push on through, and he's just continued to inspire me with his journey as he's gone. And his involvement brought Krista into the program as a coach, and Krista's involvement then was instrumental in mine and Steve's journey. So it's something that he began several years ago has just continued to pay dividends. And that's the thing about the coaching and sharing your story like he was free to do. Tonight, I want to transition over to a topic that is, I guess, a little closer to my heart. This is something that's a personal journey, personal struggle. But let me share my screen real quick. And it's the idea of changing, I can't have that, to I don't want that. And early in my journey, I heard somebody say that I don't want that. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a little bit different for you. But when I began my journey, and this is probably true for many of us, I was kind of bummed out to think about all the things that I was going to do without. Like sugar was the biggie for me, but salt, fat, and a really big thing, and Steve can testify to this, was, oh my gosh, my coffee creamer. I can't do without my coffee creamer. But that was where my mind was all the things that I was going to do without. When we started the program, Steve kind of went through the first few days. He seemed like he was buzzing right along. He adjusted to the eating schedule and the hydration and all. And he just kind of went on with life and was losing weight and doing great. I, on the other hand, had a tremendous headache off and on and had brain fog. I was losing weight, but the idea, Krista kept saying, oh, fat burn, you're going to feel a lot of energy. And I'm thinking, when? Because it just wasn't taking place. And I had cravings that Steve was saying, no, I really don't want that. I don't feel like, and I just couldn't understand the why of it. But bottom line was that I couldn't have sugar. And I think Jen actually posted this picture a few days ago, but the picture on the left shows just normal brain activity. The one in the middle shows brain activity on cocaine. And then the one on the right shows obese. And that was just kind of a startling thing for me to see that visual the other day. I was kind of in withdrawal. And I was told that I was a little bit irritable, although I'm not real sure. But I did the stop challenge and choose, and I made it through. But it was just, it was definitely a situation of I can't have that. It had nothing to do with I don't want that. And those symptoms of withdrawal lasted several days. And then I did hit fat burn, and I felt absolutely amazing. I was kind of detoxed off of some of the junk I'd been eating, and I was in fat burn, and I felt absolutely wonderful. And it just kind of makes you wonder, why do we crave things that aren't even good for us? And I honestly did not want to eat those things. I wanted to steer clear of them. Dr. A talks about that the preferences for sweeter or carb types of foods. If we were all running around running from predators, or we were foraging for food constantly, then it would make sense that we would need those higher energy carbohydrate foods. It would also make sense that we would like the taste of salt because it would replenish electrolytes. And then fat is good also for burning for energy. So there's nothing really wrong with our design, and there's nothing really particularly bad with sugar or salt, but it's just what happens in our world when we don't burn those calories. What the cycle that kind of takes place is that we eat the sweet and salty and fatty stuff, and it produces that really strong, pleasant response in our brain. So we eat more of them. And then our taste buds that are on our tongue and also in our gut begin to make a change. Most everybody's been in a room where maybe there was a smell or a sound that was just kind of constant, and you get where you just tune it out. Maybe it's where I grew up, there was a steel industry, and you could smell the steel industry in the town if you just came in, but we were used to it. We didn't even notice it. Well, the same thing happens to our taste buds, and we just can become numb to the sweet taste, and then it takes a forever more amount to get that sweet taste stimulated. I was surprised too, inflammation in our GI tracts also reduces how much sweetness we can taste or how things taste salty. So it just kind of creates a perfect storm. And then as we eat more, our stomachs just sort of become accustomed to being pushed up under organs and stretched uncomfortably, and we don't really pay it as much attention. That's all not good news. But the good news is, after not using sugar for 2 to 4 weeks, your taste buds begin to replace themselves and the sensory overload subsides, and you begin to taste normally again. The same thing is true for our perception of salty tastes and fatty foods. And then also, as we're on our program and we're eating smaller portions, your stomach, contrary to what you may have read, your stomach doesn't shrink back down. What has happened is our stomachs kind of balloon out to accommodate the big meals that a lot of us eat. I don't know how many of you guys were eating, I hear this frequently from clients, eating one big meal a day, and saying, I don't really eat a lot on that one big meal, but taking in that amount of food in one meal, your stomach is pretty distended. But the good news is that your taste actually does change. It actually does go back to the better. The other good news is that we become less tolerant of the discomfort. How many of you have eaten a really big meal and have just kind of gotten into a position where you could sort of stretch out and let things not be so cramped up? When we haven't been eating those big meals, and when we haven't been eating the sugars and the salt so much, we become aware again that, hey, my stomach feels so full, it feels so distended. And this is kind of a show of hands, although I can't see everybody's hands, but those of you that have been on program for a while, have you tried eating something sweet, maybe a piece of fruit or something that you normally wouldn't have been a very sweet taste, but you tried after being off the sugar, and it's like, that is so sweet. I'm just shocked that those are the sweetest berries or the sweetest banana or whatever it might be. Until those changes happen, because they will happen over the course of several weeks, maybe a couple of months, the idea is to eliminate sugar altogether. Our program does this for us. We don't even have to think about it. There is nowhere you'll find on the program that sugar is involved. Eliminate artificial sweeteners. That's like the NutraSweet and Equal and the artificial sweeteners, because they have the same effects on some of the hormones as sugar does. So you just don't need that either. Eliminate processed meat and just taper off of table salt, of salting so much. if you have a sweet tooth, and especially early in your journey, you may find that a little piece of mint or a slice of cucumber dropped down in the water, that may give enough taste to the water to get you accustomed to not having sodas. I have a lot of clients that tell me they drink a lot of sodas before they come on program. So going all water and no soda for some has been a real stretch, and you can try something like that. Cinnamon, nutmeg, and cardamom all trick your taste buds into thinking that you're eating sweet, which was something I didn't really realize. But pairing new seasonings and spices with flavors that you already like can kind of help to bridge that transition. And the cleaner that you can eat for those 2, 4, 6 weeks, the quicker that you're going to have that transition happen. And I want to share this. In January 2020, I really did think I would surely die without my sweetened coffee creamer and the Reese's cups and whatnot. And I started on a diet to, quote, try to lose weight. In September, my grandson had his birthday. I decided to have a cupcake with the lard icing. It's powdered sugar and lard. That's what it is, the icing. And I thought I was going to gag. I ate a little bit of it, threw it away, and went and found some Tums for my daughter-in-law. It's like, this is terrible. I can't do that. At Thanksgiving, same year, I decided I was just going to eat a traditional meal. It was just one time, and it wasn't going to hurt anything. And I was absolutely miserable for the remainder of the evening. The only thing that needed to be stuffed was the turkey, not me. And I didn't repeat that decision at Christmas, I can promise you. That was one of the things of, I think we're going to go just a little bit lighter here because I don't want to be miserable. May and August of this year, one of our daughters got really upset because neither one of us wanted a birthday cake. She said, like normal people. But it wasn't a situation of, I can't have that. It was, by that time, I don't want that. And there are reasons that go past just the transition that happened with my taste buds and with my stomach and all of those physical things. And this is the part that I really want to encourage you with, if you're, especially if you're new on your program, is there is nothing that tastes as good as I feel when I'm eating clean. There's just not. Now, I still make choices that aren't great at times, and there are still things that, maybe I'll do on a once in a while occasion. But at this point, for Steve and I don't ever want to go back to feeling like I felt when we began. And that's helped kind of solidify the idea of I don't want that. It's not just I can't have it. And it's not a diet. It's like Jimmy was saying a few minutes ago. This is a lifestyle. This is a forever transition. And yes, I can occasionally have something that's not on a 5-in-1 plan, and there is optimization, but it's just what I have gained has so far outpaced what I've given up or put to the side. And then at this point, a lot of the things that I put to the side that weren't healthy kind of make me sick at my stomach anyway. So it's a gradual transition. It's a lifestyle adjustment. And I'm going to stop my screen share and just open it up. Maybe some of the rest of you have had situations that are similar, stories that are similar that you can share that may encourage somebody at a different place in their journey. I'll just kind of open it up and see. If not, I'll just call on somebody.
Hey, Jada, I've got something to share.
Okay, good brain.
Yeah, so I guess both of these instances happened after I had transitioned off the program. But in February, it was my husband's and my anniversary, and we had both lost a lot of weight on the program. And I everything was still closed, so we couldn't go out and have a celebratory meal at a restaurant. And so we decided to just have something at home. So I made a nice lean and green. It was still a lean and green, but it was a nice steak and a nice salad, and the presentation was nice. But then while I was in the grocery store, I thought, well, this is just one special night. I'll get us something from the bakery that's special, just a small thing to share. And I stood there and I looked for like 10 minutes back and forth and back and forth. And I'd seen something that I would think, oh, that looks kind of good. And then I'd, go to reach for it and even sometimes had it in my hand. And I thought, you know what? I'd rather just have like, a decadent fudge brownie. Or, we do on occasion have Halo ice cream. But I didn't want any of the stuff that I would have probably previously would have gotten one of those, small cupcakes for each of us, and we both would have had it, and I just didn't want any of that. And then a couple months later, we were visiting my stepson and his girlfriend, and his girlfriend, as a special treat, had made cinnamon rolls from scratch. And so, this is Dylan's girlfriend, so I'm going to have it. And it tasted lovely, but I felt horrible, not just like right after, like the whole rest of the day. And I had, a lot of difficulty sleeping, not because I made a choice that I was regretting, but I just physically felt awful. And so I haven't even wrestled with the craving because that memory is so vivid in my mind.
Yes, absolutely. And, for some of you that maybe are very new on your journey, the idea may sound foreign. I hear that from time to time with clients, of that idea just doesn't even sound possible. But it is possible. It truly is. And your tastes do change. And the feeling that she's describing of just kind of feeling boggy and draggy and yuck. I can remember Krista sharing with me, she said, why would I put that in my body? And this was when, she and I were out having lunch or dinner or something early in the program. But she said, why would I put that in my body? It's not going to be good for me. And I didn't understand at that point. But now it's like, okay, I get it, because of the way it makes you feel physically, not even psychologically, but physically. Anybody else?
I have something similar, but from the salt side. I make my own spice mix from a recipe I've used for a long time because I like spicy food. And so the last time I just recently made the spice mix, and I put half the amount of salt because I love salty foods. That's always my go-to. And so I just used it the other night on a piece of fish, and I was like, what happened? And I realized I put half the amount of salt and it was still much, much too salty. So I threw it out, and I'm making a new batch without the salt. And then if for some reason I need salt, I can, sprinkle a little bit on top. But I've really lost my craving for salt, and I shocked myself. I had no idea that I would ever be able to do that. And I've been on since March 1st. So that was a real victory for me. I'm very happy about that.
So the other night, I was grocery shopping, and I'm just 4 pounds away from goal. And I was like, let's start looking at what I can, have in transition, what I can, do when having like 3 and 3 or whatever. And I'm looking at all these labels, and you look at the nutrition facts on the back side of the package, and it's all, the whole package is white and green, and it's healthy, and it's this and it's that. And you look at the carbs and the sugar and the sodium, and you're like, how can they get away with this? It's ridiculous. it was so heartbreaking. So, you know, shop the perimeter of the store and just get the fresh things and get the hell out of there, because it was ridiculous to look at anything packaged. It was horrible. So, I mean, it just was so frustrating.
Yes.
But you know, looking at those things that I normally would have bought, like Cabrina said, I stood there and I was like, I don't want any of these things. Just like you said, Jada, I just don't want it anymore. And like some of my friends and family are like, don't you miss, you know, this or that? And I'm like, not really. And I've tasted, you know, here and there, and I'm like, it doesn't taste the same. It doesn't taste right.
Yes.
And it doesn't appeal to me. And, you know, just, I don't know, it's not worth it.
And the same idea can be said. I think I don't know of a single smoker that I've ever met that told me that the first cigarette that they ever picked up, that they just fell in love with it. There was some other motivation to beginning it, and you acquire a taste over time, and then the addiction kind of sets in motion as well. The same thing can happen with foods. And I have several friends who have quit smoking over the years, and now they say that the smell of it just kind of nauseates them. And the same thing can happen with your food choices over some time. You know, you're resetting, and then your body is like, no, I'll pass. That's okay. And it does seem to get easier. Now, that's not to say that it's perfect or that you can never do whatever, but it's the idea of not that I can't. And if all of us can take that mindset of it's not that I can't, it's that I'm choosing not to. And early in my journey, I chose not to, not because of taste, but because I had a goal. But as time has gone on, I choose not to because I just choose not to have it. I don't want it. That's not something that I need. So I appreciate you guys this evening. Jimmy, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for sharing a year and a half ago too. Mincy, I'll just turn back over.
Thank you. That was awesome, Jada. Jimmy, thank you so much. It's such a great topic, the can't versus the don't. And sometimes when you're talking to yourself and saying can't, you can almost sound whiny about it. I can't. Versus the I don't is so much stronger, and not wanting is even stronger. So thank you so much, Jada. So what we're going to do is we're going to transition to our coach training. So those of you who are clients, thank you so much for being here. Hope to see you next Wednesday at 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific time. And those of you who are coaches, stay right here. Jada has more talking to do.
Jada, that was awesome. Love that.